We've been doing a lot of work, feet down please, with fractions, where they live in our number land. Last week we started trying to place fractions on a number line by thinking, is this going to be a piece, Connor, that is close to 0? So it's a little piece, like maybe we're talking about 1/8. That's pretty small.
Wait, is that the title fraction?
Or, yep, that's why I said that. Or is it going to be almost close to 1? Right? Like 7/8 is so close to being 8/8, which we know is 1 whole. Wait, somebody open that back door. Thanks. So our title today is Fractions on a Number Line. If you want to also draw a blank number line, that would be very helpful. We are going to be working on a number line. And keep your title down that says Fractions on a Number Line. Maverick today, please. Yep. Today's number line, today's number line is going to be a little bit different. We have been doing fractions between 0 and 1. That means that we're dealing with pieces that are smaller than 1 whole. Today we're going to go a little bit bigger than that. So we're going to go from 0 to 2 wholes. So now, instead of thinking of 1 whole cookie, imagine 2 cookies. Instead of thinking 1 pizza, now we're thinking of 2 whole pizzas. Yes?
If you split 2 cookies into 2 halves,
Yep.
and you got one loaf of one of the halves,
Yep.
wouldn't you just have 1 whole cookie?
Yes. We're going to talk about that right here, but yes. We have a number that we already know that goes on our number line between 0 and 2. What's going to go in the middle of this number line? Don't make all that noise, please.
I was about to say.
Bowen?
I was to say 1 goes in the middle.
Yeah, we can put 1 whole. That's not that tricky. We know that. We know 1 whole comes in between 0 and 2. Duh. Thank you. We are going to be placing some fractions on this number line. But I want to make sure we can read them. Because a lot of times, some of these fractions are tricky because we're not sure how to pronounce them. I don't recommend drawing pictures at this point. All right, let's talk about this one. Raise your hand if you know how to say that fraction. How do I say that fraction? Ooh, that is not many hands.
Oh.
Callie, how do I say it?
Like on a double line or like,
How do I just say that fraction?
oh, 1/2.
1/2.
Yeah.
1/2. If I'm describing 1/2, how might I explain it? Translating 1/2 into English. What does that really mean? Addison?
It means like, so you have like 1 dot, and you split it into 2 parts, and you color in 1.
Beautiful. Addison said we had 1 box, 1 whole thing. I split it into 2 pieces, and I have 1 of those pieces. Perfect. Raise your hand if you know how to read that number. Avery, how do I read that number?
1/4.
1/4. What does 1/4 mean in English? What is that really talking about? Ava, what is 1/4 really talking about?
I have 4 pieces of pizza, and I eat 1.
Let's be a little bit more specific. Because I could have 4 pieces, and my pizza look like this. Right? So, Lydia, you think you can fix Ava? It's just a small language thing.
I have 1 whole pizza and I split it into 4 slices. I ate 1 slice.
Yeah, so Ava, we just need to change. Instead of saying I have 4 pieces, we need to say we cut it into 4 pieces. Because I could cut my pizza like this into 6 pieces, right?
Oh no.
And have 4 of them. That would be 4 pieces, right? But is that quite the same thing?
No.
No. So we just need to be careful that we're saying I cut my whole into 4 pieces and then I took one of them. All right, let's look at this fraction. Let's look at that fraction. How might I read that? All right, how might I read that fraction?
Just one.
I could say 1 whole. That's not what that fraction says, but that is what that fraction is worth. How do I say that fraction?
2 parts of 2.
It's not 2 parts of 2 wholes. Nope. How do I read that? Cole, how do I read that?
2 halves.
I would say it's 2 halves. Now, all right, you're right. That is worth 1 whole. If I have a half and then another half and I switch them together, I have the whole thing again, right? But I read it as 2 halves. All right, let's try this last one. This is a little bit trickier to say. It's a little bit trickier to say. Jordan, what do you think that one is?
2 holes.
I say that as 2 wholes.
2 holes.
Let's think about that.
I had that.
I look for, Ava Cole, the denominator, Addison, to figure out what I'm breaking something into, right?
I don't really pay attention.
If I am cutting something into fourths, my denominator tells me that. If I'm cutting something in half, Paxton, my denominator tells me that. Well, this denominator is 1. What does that mean? Rowan, what does that mean?
A hole.
It means 1 whole. If I have my cookie and I break it into 1 piece, is it already 1 piece? Yeah, 1 whole piece. So I don't have to break it at all. I just keep it as a whole. Alright, so let's start thinking about where these fractions might go. I want you to take a minute, lightly, because we might have to erase a little bit. I want you to place those 4 fractions on the number line in your notebook. We're going to share and think through it in a second, but I want you to kind of think through where might these go. Which fraction did you start with? Which one did you start with? Paxton, which one did you start with? I like 1/2. That's where I started too, because I know where 1/2 goes. Where does 1/2 go? We're pretty familiar with 1/2. Paxton, where does 1/2 go? It goes in the middle of 0 and 1, right? If I have half the amount, I don't have 1. I don't have more than 1. I have half.
You have 1.
I have half of 1. So I would split my distance from 0 to 1 in half, and then I can write my fraction 1/2. From there, I have broken it into 2 pieces. You see that? All right, 1/2 done. I thought we could figure out 1/4. Let's think about our pieces. Would a 1/4 piece be bigger or smaller than a 1/2 piece? Because that'll help us figure out where to put it on our number line. Think back to cover the whole. Think back to our fraction strips. Arik, what you thinking? Is 1/4 size piece going to be bigger or smaller than a 1/2 size piece?
Smaller.
It's going to be smaller. Over here on my wall, look at our 1/4 piece versus our 1/2 piece. Way smaller. Callie, why is the 1/4 piece way smaller than a 1/2 piece? Why did that happen? Okay.
I got it.
Okay. Cole, you want to add on to what Callie's thinking?
You need to have a smaller number so you can have a bigger piece of Nodrot.
Okay.
I got it.
Go for it, Mason. Why is the 1/4 piece so much smaller than our 1/2?
Because let's say you have friends over, right? There's 4 friends,
Joseph? I think it's going to be a good story.
and then there's a whole cake.
Love it?
Split it into 1/4.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's 4 friends.
Yep.
So the bigger number of friends you have, the lower or the smaller amount of cake.
Yep. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah, so if I'm sharing something, cake, with 4 people, I get a smaller piece than if I'm only sharing it with 2 people. Less friends, more cake. Right? Now we can be real specific. Look at this. If I push my 1/4 piece right under my 1/2 piece, it's actually half.
That's because
1/4 is half of 1/2.
because 2 minus 2 is half of 4.
Mm-hmm. So if I know where 1/2 is, can I figure out where 1/4 is? Is it going to be on this side or this side? Raise your hand to tell me. Is it smaller than 1/2, closer to 0? Or bigger than 1/2, closer to 1? Callie, I know you got it now. What you thinking?
I think maybe closer.
Think about the story Mason told about our fourths. Could be closer to 0. It's a smaller piece. More specifically, Connor, 1/4 is a half of 1/2. Oops, that's not the right fraction. What's that, Mason?
Like you said up there on the board,
Mm-hmm.
1/4 is a half of 1 whole.
A half of a half.
But it's the same distance as 1/4 on the number board.
This jump from 0 to 1/4 is worth 1/4. This is worth 1/4. Halfway between a half. Tricky. Tricky. All right, we've got those 2 done. Those are pretty easy peasy. Ooh. Let's talk about 2 halves. We already have 1/2. Put your finger on 1/2. Put your finger on 1/2. Where is 2 halves? Where is 2 halves? I want you to draw a jump from 0 to 1/2. Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Halfway.
1/2. 0 to 1/2. I'm going to do it in red just to make it a little easier to see.
Oh my god.
That jump is 1/2. We need to do another 1/2 jump. We need 2 1/2 jumps. Bowen, what you thinking?
It goes right above the 1.
It does go right above the 1. How did you figure that out, though, Bowen?
Because I zoomed in more to the 0 and 1.
Okay.
And 2 halves of that, because 1/2 goes there.
Uh-huh.
You just make another 1/2 jump to get to 1.
So I heard 2 really great things. One, Bowen said I zoomed in. He knew we're just going to really focus between 0 and 1. He's going to kind of ignore this other half of the number line. You can put your hand on it. You don't have to look at it.
Go on.
He knew, okay, if this jump is worth 1/2, then I need to make the same jump to have 2 1/2s. 2 halves, similar to what Art said earlier, is worth 1 whole. We show that by saying it's at the same point. We write it right on top of each other. 2 halves is at the same point as 1 whole. They have the same value. So far, so good? All right, that leads us to our last one. Someone read this one more time. This is one we don't read a lot, but a lot of times if we say it, it might make more sense. Marley, how do I read that fraction? 2 wholes. 2 wholes. 2 wholes. Oh! I got it. So where is that? Right, so what you think?
So it's 2 holes.
Mhm.
So 2 holes. Let's say 2 pieces.
Mason drew 2 circles, if you couldn't see what he was doing. 2 pieces.
And then not split into any kind of half or anything.
Nope.
They're just 2 holes.
2 holes.
And so from 0 to 1, that's 1 hole.
Mm-hmm.
And from 1 to 2, that's 1 hole.
Mm-hmm.
So it will be right at the 2.
How many pieces you got?
2.
2 pieces. 2 whole pieces. A lot of times in our language, we drop the whole, right? If I say I've got 2 pieces, most of us assume you brought home 2 whole pieces. So we don't usually say that whole in our language, but that's what we're talking about. If I go to the store and I say, hey guys, I'm going to bring you 12 donuts, you're assuming that I've got 12 whole donuts, right? They're not chomped. They don't have any chomp marks on them.
Unless you're hungry on the car ride home.
Right? We're talking about holes. So 2 holes, Mason's exactly right. This jump, I'll do it in a different color. From 0 to 1, that was worth 1 hole. 1 whole jump, 1 whole number. From 0 to 2, there's another 1 hole. So 2 holes is found at the number 2. 2 holes is worth 2. If I got 2 whole seashells, I have 2 seashells. If I got 2 whole puppies, I got 2 puppies. That word whole we don't use a lot, but that's usually what we're talking about. Yes. I would like you to draw 2 circle models, 2 pieces. Draw them on your notebook underneath. 2 circle models? 2 circle models, or 2 pieces, however you want to think about them.
Can I get them in?
We're going to split them both in half. Addison, you with me? If you're caught up, yeah. So, what's the value of this piece right here? What is that piece worth? Samaya? 1. This piece is not 1 whole. This piece is worth 1/2. What about this piece right here? What is that worth? Connor? 1/2. What about this piece over here? What is it worth? Avery? 1/2. What about this piece?
1/2.
If I ate all of those pieces, how many half pieces did I eat? If I ate every single one of those pieces, half-size pieces, what did I eat? Ma'am, what do you think?
You ate basically like 4 pieces.
I ate 4, but what were my pieces split into?
Half.
Halves. I ate 4 1/2. So you see them? 1, 2, 3, 4. I ate 4 halves. 4 halves. 1/2, 2/2, 3/2, 4/2. That make sense?
Yeah.
Now I'm gonna ask you a real tricky question.
Yep.
What is that worth?
Oh my god.
What would be the equivalent to that? Jordan?
2 holes.
2 holes. I ate 2 whole pieces. So when I write it as a fraction like this, it tells me the size of the piece. I ate half-size pieces. Those are pretty big pieces, and I ate 4 of them. And when I did that, I ended up eating 2 whole pieces. Mason, yeah. Brogan, what's up?
I was thinking, when you did the pizza thing, I was thinking, how could you eat 2 whole pizzas by yourself?
Maybe they were small pieces, right? I don't have the size pizza.
And, I had a story.
All right, our task today is splitting up licorice. Licorice is like a Twizzler. But they have split it into fourths. So I want you to imagine our Twizzler. Like a red gummy piece of candy. And they're splitting it into fourths. So far, so good?
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to give you partners to work on this task. We will share once you guys get some thoughts. So I'm going to say these directions out loud. So I recommend we start listening. You're going to work with your partner. If you finish before it's share time, you're going to keep your paper at your seat and just move into your choice board. Let's say that again. We're going to work on a task in partners. We're going to share out with this task. If you finish before we're ready to share, just keep it at your seat and move into your choice board. If you're not finished by the time that we share, that's perfect. You'll just bring it down and we'll work through it together. Does that make sense? Great.
Great.